Men are coded with the governing belief that their sole value is in holding power. Their entire lives become a conflicted struggle to achieve it. So this idea of success as power, and we think about power and privilege and how that plays out in different intersections of our identity as far as race, as far as ability. So Steph Guthrie had this quote that I wanted to share with you all. She's a feminist activist in Toronto, and she's been talking about learning environments. If we want to create safe learning environments, we need to take a hard look at how power disparities influence who feels safe and who doesn't, and how we can challenge those power disparities as educators, parents, colleagues, fellow students, and fellow human beings. This is a picture of me on Vogue magazine a couple years ago. Okay, it's not me, it's LeBron James. It caused a huge controversy when it came out, not because I wasn't on the cover, but because of what was invoked, right, with this image. Famous Hollywood iconic image. The stereotypes of black men for hundreds of years as sexual beasts and savages played out in this stereotype. And we think of racism and how racism has such a strong influence in our communities, and how issues around race and things that we try to protect our children from but are still ingrained in the culture and ingrained in their thinking as far as who they can or can't be. How do we unpack and address these things in the classroom? Because for example, what ends up happening is that when you are lower on this, I describe it as a ladder of manhood, so you're trying to achieve this impossible idea of being a man, and where you are based on the power or privilege you carry will place you on that ladder. So if you're a person coming from privilege, if you're a person in a mobility device, an Aboriginal person, a person of color, someone from the LBGT community, where are you on that ladder in your community? So a lot of times what we do is we try to find a way to climb that ladder in our own way. So for young men of color in the community, what a lot of us do is we turn up the volume on our masculinity and present a very hyper idea of who we are. So acting extra tough, extra hard. So if I don't have a sense of my real value, my real worth, I try to find ways to quickly balance the playing field and to establish that I'm somebody, right? So think about how those things impact and impede our ability to grow, to learn, to be engaged, not giving ourselves permission to be engaged in the community, to be engaged in the classroom, in the learning that's happening, right? So the thing again is thinking about what impact am I making? Am I fostering and nurturing these environments, or am I fighting against them? Am I working to unpack and dismantle the struggles and the trials that youth face? And this is around really the conversations around striving to be a consensual ally. I think conversations around allyship and being an ally are so important, but it's really important to think about what that means. Because to say that you're a role model, to say that you're an ally is not enough. It's not enough to just say, well, I have friends who are gay or who are black, and so I'm an ally, I'm a role model. It's really always constantly thinking about how you can do better and be better. So it's always unpacking our privilege. Like, who am I in this world, and what privilege do I carry? And how do I role model to my children how I'm conscious of it, how I'm aware of it, how I work to kind of dismantle it? And again, like I said, it's a thing that you can't really claim. It's not about what I say I am, it's about what I do. And so much of that plays out as a parent, right? Because we role model things to our children by what we do, not so much what we say sometimes, right? The impact of how we carry ourselves, how we handle a situation, how we handle interactions, and how we value one another speaks volumes versus the things we say to our children, right? It's how we do those things and how we do that in our daily lives. And sometimes that leads to this issue around, being uncomfortable with some of these topics, being uncomfortable around talking about, what it's like for a trans student, or a student who's gay, or students of different races, etc. We have to learn to become comfortable with that discomfort of having those conversations. And we can do that together, right? It's a conversation of us, and we need to come together to have those discourses and try to grow in your learning. And a part of that is with humility, admitting when you're making mistakes and learning from them, and not being afraid to say, you know what, I really don't know enough about this issue and I need to learn more. And to learn with your child, to learn with fellow friends and other family members, etc. A big thing for me is this piece around recognizing the impact we give to our children. and the world that we help shape. And part of that is recognizing what impact am I making on my child and on their vision of what is, the way I'm supposed to be. And part of that is around being a safe space, being a safer space, right? So for me, it's the question you want to ask yourself is, am I a safe space? Am I a safer space? Am I someone that's contributing to an idea of what the world can be, and then my child feels comfortable coming forward to ask me questions and talk about these things?